Today, Laurie, we have the oldest ever officially bottled Port Charlotte. The 18-year-old, bottled 2024. We've had quite a few Bruichladdich already in the past. What's your thoughts and interpretation of Port Charlotte?
Yeah, good overall, I would say. I think Port Charlotte, the unpeated variant, I've kind of had a hit and miss
Bruichladdich, the unpeated, yeah.
It's kind of, sometimes it's okay, but I feel like for me, it needs a strong cask influence to make it really, really good. Port Charlotte, I think, is an excellent spirit. I've had a few kind of older expressions which have just been an ex-bourbon, which has been fantastic. Obviously, Octomore, the heavily peated stuff, is just different. It's a different animal altogether. But Port Charlotte is, I'd say, of the three variants, it's probably your favourite. Probably my favourite.
I'd say it's something. It's a whiskey that I've struggled with because, as you know, I'm not a big fan of heavily peated spirit. I'm really hopeful at 18 years that people have dissipated a little bit and be a little bit more rounded for me. I believe it's going to be a little bit sweeter as well, hopefully, which again would suit me. This is about 70% sherry, I believe.
Yeah, and it's 74% refill sherry casks and 26% refill wine.
Okay, wow. So it should be quite cask influenced then. Yeah. Bottled at a really punchy 54.3%, which is still a drinkable strength. Yeah. 18 years old, Islay whiskey. We're expecting it to be a little bit more subtle than what we're used to, which is a 10-year-old they normally do.
Yeah, which is full of flavour, but it is quite rough around the edges, and if you like that sort of thing, it's fantastic. But it's a bit of a brute. Yeah. This one, I'm expecting a bit more sort of maybe not elegance, but a bit more sort of balance and well-roundedness.
It should be interesting. I think the distillery, having tried so much from Bruichladdich, Port Charlotte is the one that people would say is maybe the most consistent. It's consistently an unapologetic, heavily peated, medium heavily peated Islay spirit. So it'll be interesting to see what this 18-year-old's like. Yeah,
I think this one is, I don't know, I feel like whiskies like this, you need to taste it in relation to the price, which sounds brutal. But
That's fair.
This is, I think it's £175 a bottle, which is a lot of money. You can get a lot of good whiskey for less than £50 a bottle. So,
and especially, I think the argument, I get what you're saying, Islay whiskey young can also be exceptional.
Yeah.
Wee Beastie, for example, we already spoke about like how tasty that is at the age. Even Ardbeg 10 and like Lafroig 10.
I can understand the price for something like this, because 18 years is a long time. Islay single malt was a huge demand.
It was released alongside a Bruichladdich 18 as well, I believe.
Yes.
Right at the same time, so it's quite interesting. As I say, I'm optimistic that this is going to almost put me back onto some more heavily peated Islay style. So let's have a little smell.
What is it about heavily peated whiskies that sort of puts you off? Is it that sort of ashtray?
Well, I'm not a smoker, so I'm definitely not a smoker, but I think my palate's just quite immature when it comes to it, in the sense that if it's a heavily peated dram, the smoke will totally overwhelm what I'm getting. And so some people will be getting other nuances or other complexities with these whiskies, and I get almost frustrated because I just can't quite get there. Straight away on the nose to this, it is sweet. It's really sweet.
Smokiness is there, I think, for me.
100%. But it is really sweet, actually, on the nose.
Is that from the cask, do you think? Is that
I've got to assume that that'll be the cask influence. Not overly spirit forward for 54%.
I mean, at 18 years, it's an adult. It's had 18 years in oak is a long old time. What do you think on the palate? Is it?
It's definitely Port Charlotte. I mean, it is big, bold smoke. Fans of Port Charlotte are going to love that. I would like to think that the peat's dissipated slightly, but actually it's still quite big for me. I imagine you love that. It's one of those things.
That is a full-bodied dram.
Flavourful dram, for sure.
Bags and bags of flavour. I feel like all the different elements of flavour work in harmony. So you've got the peatedness, you've got influence from the refill sherry, you've got influence from the refill wine. I don't feel like one element dominates any of the other two. It's It's a big dram, it's quite rugged,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel out of control.
I like that they bottled it at this strength. Entering the 18-year-old Islay whiskey scene, you've got Kalila and Bowmore, who are kind of consistent peated releases, both at 43%. And Bruichladdich 18, which is a great dram, it's a totally different style
Yeah.
at 46.3%. So this is kind of your big cash strength, well-aged, punchy option. So I know I get 170 quid is a lot of money for anybody to spend on whiskey. But if you're in and you're looking for a higher end style of Islay, that's pretty good, eh?
Yeah, I think when you read about whiskey on paper and you imagine what it would be like, I feel like this doesn't disappoint.
100%.
But I think £175.
It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
I think I love the sweetness of it. The peat is still quite big for me, but the only thing I can imagine might put off somebody that drinks Port Charlotte is how sweet it is.
It's a good dram.
Isn't it?
There's a lot
It drinks
to it.
It drinks really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm you know this, I'm going to go over to Islay for Phase this year for the first time. This is like the middle of my pre-season, I'm calling it.
Okay.
And I think that is a heavily peated dram that I could have more than one of, which I very rarely would say. Like I could sit down and pour a large glass of that, maybe play a bit with some water and stuff, although I really like it at the strength now. I'm shocked how much I like it, to be honest.
I don't know, I feel like I've got a slightly more cynical approach. Like the Port Charlotte 10,
That you know, yeah.
which is bottled at 50%, is a full-bodied, complex, smoky Islay single malt with a decent age behind it, 10 years old.
Which is good value as well.
If I was offered 3 bottles of that, or 3.5 bottles of
Yeah.
that, or 1 bottle of this,
Yeah.
I'd be like Port Charlotte 10.
I also get, because you like peated whiskey, that's so consistent and welcoming for you. I don't really like peated whiskey, and although this is a premium, this is a nice an entry point to me where the spirit is complex enough and sweet enough. And maybe, I still think there's a lot of peat there. Would you say it's dissipated much compared to the 10?
Not as
It's
much
really
as I
quite big.
thought. It's a big whiskey.
But that is something that I'm surprised I enjoy as much as I do.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I think if you'd spent 175 quid on it, I think you could appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd feel shortchanged, but
It's not you, but because there's so much quality on the island for such value, you would struggle to kind
yeah,
of.
I almost feel like Bruichladdich have shot themselves in the foot by making the Port Charlotte 10 so
affordable, and
so
quality.
good
Yeah.
for 50 quid. Or
It's a good argument. I totally get it. I
Yeah,
think
and it's the same argument I use for Ardbeg.
yeah,
Their 10-year-old at 40 quid, 50 quid, whatever,
How can you
is a
argue against
fantastic whiskey.
what a world class whiskey.
And you compare that to their 25,
Yeah.
where it was like, is this so much better than that
Yeah,
in terms of a liquid?
it gets sweeter the more I drink it. It's almost a kind of smoky toffee on the nose, maybe even tablet, like Scottish tablet. It's so sugary sweet. I don't know the wine that they've used, but it's really interesting. And the finish, again, with peated whiskey is prolonged. Yeah, for me that's a 9 out of 10 gram. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think liquid-wise, taste-wise, yeah, 8, maybe 9 out of 10 for me.
Just a bit spenny.
Value for money-wise, you probably drop down to a 7.
That's fair.
But it's
7's actually alright. I thought you were going to give it like a 2.
maybe 6.8. I don't know.
Fair.
But it's there's a lot going on. I think it does everything that it says on the tin.
Yeah. With this not having dissipated too much at 18, do you think Port Charlotte can go older? Would you see,
I'd say so,
would
yeah.
you see them do a 21 and a 25-year-old and it would
I'd
still
be
work?
interested to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously you can't replicate the impact of age.
Yeah.
So I think 25, 21 years old, it's going to have a different complexion,
Yeah.
different feel to it. So
'Cause I would be quite excited having tried this now and enjoying it, whereas I find the 10 quite challenging. I think that the older it gets, the more it might suit me.
okay.
But interesting to try, something
Yeah.
a bit different.
It's a good dram. For me, a little bit pricey. Maybe you've got more money than I do. Maybe Bevvy, you're paying you too much. Never mind.
Cheers.
But good one to try. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whisky experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whisky journey, connect with your whisky friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whisky, all in one place. It's the definitive whisky companion.